Nobody tells you a half-truth to hurt you. And that is the problem. A half-truth wears the face of wisdom. Repeated so many times, by so many people who meant well, it becomes bedrock. Something you would be foolish to question. So you build your life on it, and one day, it costs you. That is what a half-truth does. It never lied to you. It simply left out the half. That would have saved you. The most dangerous thing in your life right now is something you believe completely. Not because it is false, because it is almost true. Love is enough. You have felt this certainty that what you feel for someone, the depth of it, should be sufficient. That genuine love finds a way. That people who truly love each other do not fail, and that feeling is not wrong. The wanting it to be enough is one of the most human things that exists. But consider the people you know who loved each other and still destroyed each other. Not because the love faded, but because two people who love deeply can still want incompatible lives, can still shrink each other slowly, not through cruelty, but because who they are together is not who either of them needs to become. The love was real, and it was not enough. Love cannot create compatibility. It cannot replace growth. It cannot survive the absence of equality. When one person gives more patience, more forgiveness, more of themselves, love begins to feed on the one who loves more, and what it feeds on, it eventually consumes. This is how it happens. Not with a single moment you can point to. You stay longer than you should. You explain away what should not need explaining. You love harder when honesty is what is required. You shrink yourself and call it devotion, right up until it is gone. Love is not a lie, but love alone does not save a relationship. It just makes the erosion feel like devotion. The half that was missing is this. Love is the beginning of the work, not a substitute for it. Be yourself. 3 words given to almost every person who has ever felt lost, as if the self were a fixed thing, already complete, already formed, simply waiting to be expressed more boldly. And there is truth in it. Performing a version of yourself that isn't real is exhausting. The instruction not to contort yourself for the approval of others, that is genuinely wise. But here is what the advice assumes, that it never says out loud. It assumes the self you currently are is the self you should be expressing, that who you are right now, shaped by your upbringing, your fears, your limited experience of the world, is something worth being loyal to. But what if the self you are so busy being is the thing standing in your way? What if the self you are protecting was formed in circumstances that no longer apply? The self that learned to be small because being small was safe. The self that decided it was not the kind of person who does certain things, not because of genuine self-knowledge, but because of what the people around you made feel possible. The self is not a fixed thing. It is built continuously by every experience you have, every person you spend time with, every idea you allow in, and everyone you keep out. Be yourself is sound advice for a person who has done the work of understanding who they are. For everyone else, which is most people, most of the time, it is simply an instruction to stay exactly where they are and call it authenticity. The missing half is this. Before you commit to being yourself, make sure the self you are being is one you have actually chosen and not simply inherited. The work is not self-expression, the work is self-construction, and that requires being willing to question the self, not protect it. Time heals everything, said to people in grief, said by people who care and do not know what else to offer. But think of the people you know who are still carrying something from 10 years ago. 20 years ago, still shaped by a wound that never properly closed, still making decisions from a place of hurt they have never examined. Time passed, and yet something did not heal. In truth, time doesn't heal. It buries, and the difference matters because healing requires something time alone cannot provide: understanding, the willingness to look directly at what happened and sit with it honestly, to ask what it cost you and what you are still carrying because of it. Without that, time does not heal the wound, it buries it, and buried wounds do not disappear. They become the invisible architecture of your behavior, the reason you flinch at things others don't notice, the reason you leave before you can be left, the reason you are drawn to people who confirm what you quietly believe about yourself. Time without reflection does not heal, it just gives the wound a longer shadow. The missing half is not patience, it is attention, the willingness to turn toward what hurt you and understand it, rather than waiting for it to quietly stop hurting on its own. You can be anything you want, told to children, told with love, told because the person saying it wants the child in front of them to feel unlimited, to not foreclose on a life before it has begun. And as an intention, it is beautiful. The refusal to tell a young person what they cannot become before they have had the chance to try, that is a gift. But eventually the child grows up, and at some point, if no one has ever told them the other half, they collide with the world as it actually is. And the collision is hard, because they were never prepared for it. You can become many things, genuinely. The range of what a person can build themselves into, with sustained effort and enough time, is wider than most people ever attempt. But you cannot become anything, and the difference between many things and anything is where most unrealized lives live. Because anything removes cost from the equation. It suggests that the choice to become something is free, that it does not require giving up other things, does not require confronting real limitations, does not require brutal honesty about where you are starting from and what the path actually demands. The person who is told they could be anything often finds in adult life that they cannot commit, that every path feels like a betrayal of the others, that the unlimited possibility they were promised has become a paralysis, because choosing one thing means accepting that you are not choosing everything else. Unlimited options is not freedom. It is a different kind of cage. You can build a remarkable life, but you cannot build all of them. The missing half is this: becoming something real requires the willingness to give up the fantasy of becoming everything. Possibility without cost is not freedom. It is a map with no roads on it. Believe in yourself, said to almost everyone who has ever doubted, who has ever stood at the edge of something they wanted and pulled back. And yet, think of the most confident people you have ever encountered. Were they the ones who succeeded? Or were some of them the ones who failed most spectacularly because their belief outpaced their competence? Confidence without foundation is not an asset. It is a liability that feels like strength. Real confidence, the kind that does not collapse under pressure, is not generated by telling yourself you are capable. It is built by accumulating evidence that you are capable, by doing the thing, by failing at the thing, by understanding why and adjusting, by doing it again better than before. That process is what builds the certainty that sustains you when the world pushes back. The person told only to believe in themselves often develops a fragile confidence, one that needs constant reinforcement, one that shatters on contact with genuine difficulty, one that mistakes the feeling of confidence for the substance of it. Believe in yourself is the destination, not the method. The missing half is this: build something worth believing in first. Confidence is not a decision, it is a conclusion, one that the evidence of your own effort eventually allows you to reach. Family comes first, said with such certainty that questioning it feels like a moral failing, and there is something real here. The bonds formed in a family, at their best, are the deepest available to a human being. The people who knew you before you knew yourself. But think about what this instruction actually asks. It asks you to place a category above an assessment, to prioritize the relationship, not because of what it is, but because of what it is called. Not every family is a safe place. Some families love in ways that require their members to stay small and not outgrow the roles assigned to them, to not ask for more than the family has collectively decided is appropriate. And family comes first, applied without examination, becomes the reason a person spends decades managing other people's comfort at the cost of their own becoming. Some people are smaller today than they could have been, not because of their enemies, but because of their family. This is not an argument against family. It is an argument against loyalty as a category, against the idea that a relationship earns your sacrifice simply by existing, rather than by being the kind of relationship that deserves it. The missing half is this: family deserves your loyalty when it earns it, by loving you in ways that allow you to grow, not only in ways that keep you close. Choosing yourself is not a betrayal. Sometimes it is the only honest thing left to do. Work hard and you will succeed. The most repeated piece of advice in human history. And effort matters. Genuinely. The discipline to show up, to do the difficult thing, to persist when persistence is uncomfortable. That is not optional. But look around at the people you know, who have worked the hardest. Are they the ones who have gotten the furthest? Or do you know people who have worked relentlessly for years and still find themselves in the same place they started? Not because they lacked effort, but because effort, directed at the wrong thing, without the right understanding of what success requires, does not compound, it just accumulates. Effort in the wrong direction is not progress. It is an expensive way to stay still. The missing variables are these. What are you working toward? And does the path you are on actually lead there? Do you understand the system you are operating inside? Or are you working hard inside a structure that was not designed for your success? Effort is necessary, but it is not sufficient, and the person told only that working hard leads to success will spend years blaming themselves for a failure that was never entirely theirs to own. Work hard is true, but direction matters more than effort. Make sure you are building on a road that leads somewhere before you spend everything you have walking it. And then there is this one, the one that sounds the most like freedom. Follow your passion, find the thing that sets you alive and pursue it without compromise. Don't settle. Don't trade your years for security and call it wisdom. The world owes you a life that feels like yours. That is a beautiful idea. And for a small number of people, it works exactly as described. But for most people, it is the beginning of a very specific kind of confusion. Here is what actually happens. A person identifies something they love, genuinely love, not just enjoy, and they pursue it. Early on, when the stakes are low and the skill required is minimal, the passion is warm and present. It feels like confirmation, like they found the thing. Then the difficulty arrives, the moment when the craft demands more than enthusiasm can provide. When the gap between where they are and where they need to be becomes visible, large and honestly discouraging. In that moment, the passion, which was supposed to carry them through, goes quiet. Not gone, just not enough. which is a different problem than they were prepared for. Because no one told them that passion is a feeling and feelings respond to conditions. Passion is warm when you are competent enough to enjoy what you are doing, and cold when you are not. It is not a compass, it is a thermometer. The people who seem most alive in their work are usually not the ones who found their passion and followed it. They are the ones who got genuinely good at something, who developed real skill, who earned real competence, and found that mastery itself created meaning. That the depth of engagement that comes from being truly capable generates a feeling that looks, from the outside, exactly like passion. The missing half, passion follows mastery, not the other way around. Don't follow your passion, develop your skill, and let the passion find you in the doing, because that is the only place it reliably lives. 8 half-truths. And if you noticed, they are all saying the same thing in different costumes. Love enough, be yourself, time heals, believe, family, work hard, follow your passion. Every single one of them puts the answer inside you and removes the world from the equation. Every single one of them says, if it isn't working, the problem is that you haven't felt it enough, believed it enough, tried hard enough, or waited long enough. None of them mention the conditions that determine whether any of it actually works. That is not an accident. It is the shape of the advice we give each other, as an individual, internal, self-contained. Because that kind of advice is comforting. It puts control in the hands of the person receiving it. It feels like empowerment. But comfort and accuracy are not the same thing. Here is what connects all 8. Every single one of them is true, partially. And that is precisely why they cause the damage they do. Because the part that is true lowers your guard for the part that was left out. The world does not ruin people with false advice. It ruins them with advice that is almost true, delivered with love, repeated with certainty, and received as bedrock. And right now, not in the abstract, not in someone else's life, right now, there is something you are doing, or not doing, or staying in, or pushing through, because of one of these. Not because you were careless, because you were given half the truth and told it was the whole thing. The most dangerous belief is not the one that is obviously wrong. It is the one that is right enough to trust completely, and incomplete enough to slowly cost you everything. Now you know the other half. What you do with it is yours to decide.